Sassy Southern home. It has been a hectic week, but not all weeks are going to be great. So we got through it, but I've gotten a lot of support from you guys here on YouTube, and I really appreciate that. Just a reminder that the whole YouTube community and all the creators, it takes a lot of time to think up ideas, go shopping for supplies, put together the video, edit it, and get it ready for you guys to watch. And they're all just our ideas to give you inspiration to go create something beautiful for yourself and for your home or what have you. So just please be respectful with your comments. We really appreciate that. But I appreciate all the support this week, you guys. And please continue. And if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. Likes are great. Comments, if you have any suggestions, because I'm kind of new at this. So I've been crafting all my life basically, but I'm new at creating for other people to look at. So if you have any suggestions that are shortcuts or what have you, I'd appreciate you guys let me do that. I've gotten a couple this past week, and I really take that to heart, so I will use those in the future. But just be respectful, please. Appreciate it. This week is another Easter decor DIY, and it's mostly Dollar Tree items, so just keep in mind that not all Dollar Tree items, I mean, they're not high-end, they're Dollar Tree items, so I work with what I have, but I try to create something beautiful that I would like to use in my space. I'm not a fan of everything I create. I will like something, but I might not be in love with it. In some projects, I'm really in love with it, so just keep that in mind, but it's just a whole process to get it all together for you. But anyhow, so Easter's a special time. That's why we're doing another video on Easter, because it's time. We're thinking about the resurrection. We're thinking about all the spring flowers and everything coming into bloom. Of course, that's allergy season too, so you got to deal with that. But it's just a nice time of year. You hear all the birds chirping, and so, you know, Easter's just a pretty time, a joyful time, and it should be a time for reflection on our lives. Anyhow, stay tuned, and you guys, let's get crafting. Okay, you guys, so project number one is a hat wreath. So my supplies from Dollar Tree were this natural hat. They had white hats, pink, whatever you choose. I picked up some florals and a Happy Easter ribbon. This is more like a burlap ribbon, and you'll need some jute twine to hang your hat with, your hat wreath. So we're going to just take the ribbon, measure it, and then hot glue it around the rim. And I took the little bow ribbon, whatever you want to call it, that was on there. I took that off, and I'm replacing it with my little Easter ribbon. So you're going to take that and glue that. You have to work with this a little bit and glue it at the top a little bit and at the bottom a little bit, and make it as flat as possible. So your florals, I think I used not quite 3, but I kind of laid out my little pattern first, and I alternated the color, and I've got like this kind of a blush pink, I guess you would call it, and white. And I'm just alternating the pink and the white. Now when you get towards the back or the top, maybe I should call that the top, because that's where the jute twine's going to hang it at. You're going to leave a space because you're going to make a simple bow. And there we are making our bow after we've glued everything down. And then we're just going to flip it over and make a little loop with some jute twine to hang it from. And then this project's going to be complete. And I tried to line the top, back, whatever, with the little tag that was in on there. And you could take that off, it's just optional. And there it is hanging on my front door, and it really is adorable. It probably would have showed up better. The blush pink, my orange door kind of takes over the blush pink, but it really is adorable and easy. Next project, I call this my little bunny butt basket. Now you're going to have a lot of supplies that we're going to need. And you're going to need some lavender, a chalkboard, some bamboo skewers, this little fluffy duster, and a 2-pack of the carrots, the pack of large pom-poms and some rope, and I use both the natural and the nautical, and a little bunny butt and a galvanized tin. And then also I had on hand some Easter grass, so whatever you want to make the little grass area. Mine was that kind that like pulls apart. It feels more like a material. And some floral foam, which I had on hand as well. So I could not find a small chalkboard sign. So if you can find a smaller one, you can certainly save yourself some time. So I just deconstructed the one that I could find at my local Dollar Tree. Took my miter shears and my floral shears combination to cut that down. And then I am using also some popsicle sticks, which I always, or craft sticks, which I always have on hand. And I'm making a little frame around the chalkboard. So if you find a smaller sign, that just saves you all that. And then I'm just going to, of course, sand it because the edges are rough once you cut those. And then in my sloppy handwriting, I wrote carrot patch. And then you're going to hook a bamboo skewer on the back of that so that you can push it down into the bucket in the floral foam. So you're going to make a little stick, a little sign out of that. And there are quite a number of steps to this. Now, these little carrots, you can leave them certainly as is. My thought was to use the jute twine. That would have taken me quite a while to do, so I changed up to the nautical rope and the natural rope. And I'm only going to use one strand. So what it ended up, I had the spare natural rope on hand and the nautical rope. I didn't have to buy any of that. But what it's going to end up taking is almost a whole bunch of that you get from Dollar Tree. So I just used one strand because I didn't want it that big. Then I've got my little lavender here. So the little leaves on the lavender I liked. I didn't like the little leaves that come on there. They just look too whimsical to me. So those little lavender leaves look really cute. So I'm just going to use that for the carrot top and glue that in there. Now the little bunny butt, he is cute. You can leave him as is, but I wanted him fluffier and softer looking and a little bit bigger. So I'm just going to take off his little feet, take off the tail that comes on there, and I'm going to reuse these feet, but I'm going to take the body, cut down this little duster, cut it larger than your little, it's not a circle, it's formed kind of look like his little behind, I guess. So you're going to cut that down enough on the sides where you can hot glue it down. And then I actually came back and cut another little piece to cover up the whole thing, which really isn't necessary because that's towards the back, but it just made him appear fuller. Then I'm going to take my little feet, I'm going to leave those, and I'm just going to trace and cut out around this little duster around that shape, and then hot glue that on there, and then hot glue those onto the body. And you can see what that looks like. So it looks like your little bunny butt is up with his little feet. And then take one large pom-pom, and I'll use these pom-poms again. So they're not really just for Easter. You can use those whenever. You can put those on pillows or whatever. So I've got a pack. I can reuse those, but I needed one, so I had to buy a whole pack. Then I'm going to take some white chalk paint. You can use acrylic paint, whatever you have on hand. You don't have to paint the bucket. I just wanted the bucket a little bit lighter than this galvanized tin look. So I'm just going to do 2 light coats of chalk paint on it. Then when that dries, I'm going to take my little sanding block and sand around the letters because it says flowers and garden. I'm going to sand those out a little bit and around the top rim and the bottom rim a little bit, just to have it a little bit worn, distressed look to it. And then you're just going to get ready to assemble everything. Now I always have floral foam on hand. I just cut it down to fit. At first I did not hot glue it to the bottom, but I ended up going back and hot gluing it to the bottom because it didn't want to stay. And then it's so light, everything that you're putting in here. I did go back and put some rocks that I had on hand that I use for a lot of my, when I use floral stems, sometimes I have to use those to weigh whatever vase I'm using down. So I just added some of those for some weight. That's optional, but I found that the sticks and stuff of your bunny and everything, the carrots are kind of heavy, so everything just kind of wanted to shift if you didn't weight it down good. So then we're just going to start filling the little bucket in. And I think I used 2 stems of the lavender. And of course, if you wanted to use greenery to fill it in, you can certainly fill it in with some extra greenery. And you can just see, I'm just finishing up. I just wanted to show you how I just kind of placed everything in there. Cut it down. I did have to cut the stem on the bunny a little bit. The carrots, I think a little bit. Just cut everything down to size a little bit. And this is an adorable, and you can see my little grass area in there. This is an adorable little craft, and you can reuse this year after year. You can add more to it. You can rearrange it from year to year. But he looks like he's going into the carrot patch. Our next project, I love a good little holiday garland. So our Dollar Tree items are going to be these styrofoam eggs. I just used 1 pack. You can certainly make it as long as you like. You might want to use another one. These Easter wooden beads, and I had these left over from some other crafts. Some thin yarn. I got that from Dollar Tree as well. I bought some washi tape. I think that's what you call it. I've never used that before, but I found whatever at Dollar Tree. They did not have any Easter, but I found some colors that were as close to Easter as possible. You'll have to just use whatever craft paint of your choice. And then I did have to buy a doll needle, D-O-L-L needle. It's a very long needle, kind of large, because we're going to run our yarn through the eggs. So just paint them up whatever colors you want. Now you can certainly add dots. You can take a thin acrylic paintbrush and add designs on it. All I did was leave some plain, and I used the washi tape to go around some. You kind of have to work with that if you're using it. I just took my nail and smoothed it out as much as possible. Now I did find a good trick for these eggs, since I'm going to run that needle through them anyhow. I just used some bamboo skewers and an extra block of floral foam and stuck those in there and painted them on that. So my eggs are dry. I'm just going to pull those off, and we're going to start assembling our garland. And I'm just opening up the washi tape here. And that stuff, maybe if you get it from a craft store, it might be a little hardier. But some of it was really thin, and I had a time getting it loose. But I worked with it since we are doing Dollar Tree crafts. So once I had got all my eggs decorated, then I took my needle and put my yarn through it and leave you a little tail. And then I'm just gonna alternate these beads. Now there are 2 shades of blue. I only used one of them. You can use whatever color combination you want. You might want to just use colors that just complement your eggs, whatever, but it's Easter. Easter's about all these pretty little pastel, pretty little colors, so I just used the different colors that were in there. So run your beads into a pattern, however you're putting those, and then take your needle up through an egg And I would start it holding in my hand, and then I would end up putting it on that table and pushing down. Just try to make it as level and going through the center of the egg as possible. Sometimes that's a little hard. I wanted to turn, but just to get your egg looking good on your garland. And you can see my process here. Now, one of my little purple eggs ended up busting, so you have to be real easy with this. I didn't get to use it, but it was long enough for what I wanted it for. And of course, like I say, you can use a whole nother pack of eggs, just however it suits you. Now, when I did my next line of beads, I went opposite direction. And then when I went to finish up, the way I tied it off was I used some string and tied it actually around that last bead to get a good hold on it. And then our last project here is a little tulip bucket. So I got this little galvanized looking bucket from Dollar Tree. I needed some jute twine. I got a little bunny sign from Dollar Tree and Easter ribbon. We're going to use some bamboo skewers, some little piece of floral foam. I got lavender from Dollar Tree, and these tulips, I actually got these from Dollar General. My local Dollar Tree didn't have any tulips, so I actually got those from Dollar General. Now, it's got jute twine on the bucket, but I wanted to run it a little bit further down the bucket. Totally optional. You can certainly paint your bucket, but I just wanted to run a little bit more jute twine down. And it was aggravating to put that on there. So if you're going to do this, just run a real thin bead of the hot glue. And it's going to take you a little bit of time because you're going to have to really push it up as tight as you can up against the other. But I didn't use much jute twine. I just wanted it a little bit larger than that. So I'm going to cut down my floral foam. And I didn't push it all the way down. That way, the weight of these flowers, the stems, was going through the foam, if that makes sense. So I pushed it probably about a little over halfway down, I would say. And then I'm just going to take my tulips and push those down in there, and then my lavender. And then I did come back and did a little bit of greenery in there as well that I had on hand, but that's optional. You can certainly fill it up with tulips and the lavender. And those little tulip stems were kind of like a hollow, so they weren't real hardy, so I had to work with them to make them stand up. But they were real pretty. I think they were $1 for one, but I only bought 4 of them, so that wasn't bad. And like I said, I know I've seen some people that could find the tulips locally in their Dollar Tree, but I find every Dollar Tree is different just about it. So I have 2 locally, and lots of times they run totally different craft supplies, so I just couldn't find them on hand. For my bunny, I took him apart from the sun, and I'm going to take the little bow off, and I ripped a little bit of this. I don't know what kind of covering this is, but I was going to put a little Happy Easter bow on him anyhow, so I just covered that up, glued my little bow down. Then I'm going to flip him over and put 2 bamboo skewers on him. One's not going to hold him. He's a little heavy, so I put hot glue 2, and you want to hot glue that down good. I don't know where I went here. Oh, I was looking for my ribbon. I just kind of went away from you guys for a second there. Anyhow, just a simple little bow, and didn't want the bow too large because his little neck's not that large, so I just had to find my small ribbons what I'm doing. So just a simple little bow. Like I said, hot glue that on, turn him over, use 2 bamboo skewers. You could probably use craft stick, but you probably have to use 2 of those as well, just to get some weight. And the bamboo skewers are tall, I did end up cutting him down just a little bit because of the height. I just wanted kind of him in the tulips, not standing over the tulips. So when I get through with him, you can see I'm pushing everything in here and then taking my lavender. And then I did use a little extra greenery. I actually found some, I think it was like a eucalyptus sprigs at my local Dollar Tree. One of them. One of the Dollar Trees. So I put that in there as well. Fill that in nicely. And then you have a cute little bunny bucket, tulip bucket. And we were at Marshall's the other night, and they just had tulips in a vase, and I'm not sure how many it was, but it wasn't too many little stems of tulips, and they wanted $15 for that. So, and that's Marshall's, so you know that's a good buy. So, anyhow, he's you can make them for a lot cheaper, and plus you've got a bunny in there, and then you could use this through spring. Just take the little bunny out if you didn't want the bunny in there, and use it all the way through spring, because we've not put a sign or anything on it that said Happy Easter other than the bow on our bunny, and you can take that bow off and use something other else. And here's our garland and our tulip bunny bucket displayed.